going to be answering their picks, see exactly what's going to get through, what's going to be taken away, and whether the Tristan attacks will be paid or whether it will not.
Yeah, Ash and Rumble pretty standard. Senna going to get taken off the cards. Calista maybe gets thrown a ban. But I think the thing is, I think if Honor Life starts banning things like the Tristana or the Talia, that's when KT will as well. But if it gets left open, like there's no reason for KT to ban Tristana here, because they take Tristana, you take Talia, and then you can probably take Vi as well to combo.
I think Tristana probably still should be banned, just because it is so strong. It's one of Zeka's champions.
The problem is, I mean, I agree, but also if you ban Tristana, then it might just be a Talia first pick, and you don't have something equivalent to answer so much, you know? So
yeah, good point.
It's a difficult one when you're on this red side and you have this third ban.
They did try to do the Yone thing. And then that didn't quite work. Yeah, okay.
Tristana first pick, and then you don't have the Talia.
And it is one of BDD's most successful champions. So an odd maneuver does give the Nautilus option there as well. There are quite a few things, and Sejuani is going to be the priority pick. So maybe dodging a bullet, perhaps, as Corki is going to be the lock-in for BDD. And Pioshik just slams the Zyra. Okay, sometimes Canyon just tells you where to go. Of course, a lot of our junglers were playing Zyra before the season even started.
Yeah.
She did get nerfed a little bit on the patch leading up, I believe, if memory serves, but not enough to really pull her out of where she was. And there is that Tristana that we were talking about. We'll see whether it's going to be enough to get them over the line.
Probably Kai'Sa here, simply because you need some AP in the composition, and you don't really want to lock into the top laner, so wouldn't surprise me. But looks like they're not going to go for that. They're going to go for Zeri instead.
Huh. So I wonder whether that means that Doran is going to be aiming towards something a little bit more magic damage focused. As Leona for Beryl, he did get a world skin on this champion, even if he never uses it. It's something that he has been pretty incredible on in the past. I think we probably associate him more with Alistar, or at least I do, you know, going back to when Beryl was at peak form. Certainly something that he's made some big plays on. So that's going to be locked into a huge round of applause from the KT fans here at Lowell Park. Very happy to see him on this champion that did manage to win him a world championship.
Yeah, and I think KT can probably just focus bans towards the support pool. Maybe you're concerned about the Lulu. Obviously the buffs to she got pretty significant, especially like the extra knockup on the ult. Maybe you can look towards the Alistar as well. On the side of Hanwha, I think you just focus bans towards the AD carries makes the most sense in this situation. We've seen the Kai'Sa picked a lot into the Zeri, so that potentially could be one you take out.
Yeah.
Maybe, I feel like you might have too much AP, but maybe even the Ziggs Leona has been like wildly popular in the LPL as a combo.
I really like the Ezreal ban.
Yeah.
This is one of those things, like, because I think that Viper is an amazing Zeri player. I think if Zeri's left up, you're probably going to pick her. But Deft and Viper are both incredible Ezreal players. Probably two of the best that we have historically, the ones with the most tape, having really good games. There's that Alistar, like you were talking about, pretty cookie cutter. It does mean that Nautilus does get through, as that Kai'Sa, like you mentioned, is going to be taken away from Deft. So Caitlyn, you know, if you want a bit of extra power, I like Caitlyn personally, but we'll see where Deft does decide to go.
I feel like you want to pick that can kind of, you know, I feel like the Kai'Sa would have committed to like more heavy dive, but playing at distance with the Zyra can make a lot of sense in this composition. I mean, I feel like maybe even someone like the Jhin could be crazy enough to come out here, but
Deft is not much of a Jhin player. Instead, he's just going to pick Draven. And there are, you heard the sound that the crowd made, and it was like an ah and a groan at the same time.
Yeah.
And that makes sense. Deft has had some big games on the Draven and some games that they're not in my memory anymore. I wonder why.
Yeah, I wonder why. I mean, I think it makes sense. Honor Life Esports just pick up the Skarner here. We'll see what KT opt to go in return. It's usually just been that Skarner-K'Sante trade-off. And the question is the support pick. Rel is still open and available. Nautilus is still an option, although can be a bit rough in Leona. There is ways to play the matchup that I'm sure Delight is aware of. But yeah, I think probably just the Rel would make the most sense in my mind, especially in the Draven, really good at just like disrupting him in team fights. So they'll lock that in, and I think to no one's surprise, this is just the top lane matchup we are going to get every game.
I kind of wished it was, nah. I don't know why. Just felt like Perfect Dinar could have been a bit of a difference maker. I feel like Cassante, Skarner really, like, they get to play the game after it's kind of already been a bit decided. But I am very interested in how Pyoshik's going to play this one out. That was a lot of priority on this Zyra pickup. Of course, the Sejuani was first picked, right? So it's not like, you know, they had to worry about getting counterpicked in the jungle or anything like that. But the amount of confidence that they had to pick it so incredibly early shows me that they do have a plan around this as well. And we'll see whether it is going to be enough to get Deft ahead, get those adoration stacks up, and really start snowballing for that win.
Well, I think especially when you have the Draven, I think it's going to be very much like Gen G's game, not that we had earlier today, but earlier this week, when Canyon played the Zyra, and he super fast cleared, 3-minute clear into bot lane, and just camped it. And I think that should be the strategy. Use the fact that you're pacing ahead of the other jungler to be bot lane as much as possible.
And that's precisely what they were able to do on the red side, right? Because we saw them play the Zyra again today, but they were on blue side in order to do so. Then somehow got blue side again, so we didn't even get to see a potential red side strategy from Canyon. We'll see whether Pyoshik is just going to mirror exactly what he did there. As KT Rolster, remember, they have their backs against the wall. They also have a telecom war looming in the future. Let's jump into the rift for game one. All right, some desperation from the KT fans, understandably here. And you might be confused as to why I mentioned the telecom war, but the thing is, if I was a T1 fan and I was watching and KT could just get completely clapped 0-2 in this series, the likelihood that KT wins the telecom war goes up really high. So T1 fans, you have to band together to hope that KT gets a win here.
It just keeps accumulating, and this should be a good cash out. You know, if they ended up winning this, telecom war not looking good for KT.
It's literally the opposite of Draven. Like, he gets the adoration stacks, and KT fans get frustration stacks. And as they get up really, really high, they get that cash in, and then that's when it can all start falling down. So it's happening here. See whether it does work out here, as there is the Braum emote. Beautiful. I love that one, the Braum emote meta that occurred. What was that last Worlds?
I don't honestly remember.
Huh.
I did just see the Deft emote from BDD though.
Yeah,
I don't know if you know this, but BDD has actually played with Deft.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Like this year on KT?
Pretty recently, yeah.
Huh. It's pretty cool. Well, Pyoshik is going to be able to take his red pretty comfortably. Sets up some plants here. Take down the Krugs.
Doesn't even have to walk around.
I know.
That's a time save.
It's beautifully done. I think he's got this one down to a fine art. It was pretty nice watching Canyon do it. It's good to see that Pyoshik has the moves.
Yeah.
All of those reps that all these players put in on the Zyra jungle paying off.
I feel like it's such an overlooked thing, but getting efficient with your clear is something you can so easily practice.
Absolutely.
A lot of League of Legends.
Ow.
Obviously, you have to play against someone, but jungle clears, you can just go on the practice tool, do it again and again and again. And especially with a champion like Zyra, if you become efficient with it, if you're there first, it can make all the difference. Now, Deft and Barrel getting a good initial trade onto Viper. This is going to be a rough matchup for Hanwha Life Esports bot lane, but like any Draven matchup, it all comes down to the cash-in. But also, I feel like ever since they made the change where the execute comes in based on your stacks, like, it's not even enough just for the Draven not to get a kill, because if he gets to the point where he has 600 stacks, it's so easy for him just to pick up kill with the ult, and you have that extra combat power. You know, prior to this, having stacks did nothing for you until you cashed them in, but now there's like the actually added element of combat power if you have a ton in the bank that makes them so scary.
Yeah, the Blue Blades actually is now a damage threat, which is good. Teddy would have really liked that in the past, where he was able to actually coin that one. As we do have Peanut waiting for that counter gank. You can see Pyoshik down here for KT with a lot of push. And so nothing that Pyoshik can really do. We'll just head towards the Rift Scuttler. Yeah, as Delight looks to get some vision. So far so good on both sides of the map.
And it kind of works both ways in the sense that Pyoshik isn't able to do anything because, you know, there's a threat of Peanut being there. But Also, Peanut can't really do anything to disrupt the 2v2, which is going well, but now they're actually looking for more. Viper does have cleanse. We'll see if they can still punish, though.
Yep, Extendo Beam coming in there as Beryl gets the stun. Shield of Daybreak down onto Delight, who utilizes his Aftershock well. Beryl gets out of the way, good communication, so that Deft doesn't throw his life away there. But still, unable to lock him down, and they don't get a summoner. Yeah,
it does make it rough. The health being lost into Light makes it a little bit dangerous. But again, no summoner taken. It's actually a trade up because Beryl being Ignite. Well, that's not too much of an issue. But overall, HLE Esports hold their nerve.
Yeah, nicely played. They do miss out on a fair bit of the wave as far as CS is concerned, but I think Viper stayed pretty much within experience range for the majority.
Honestly, I feel like the experience is so much more important than the gold in early levels, so as long as you're still getting that, it's okay. You see Delight recalling now. Gonna pick up a Ruby Crystal. And the thing is with the, like, it's honestly not often overlooked, but like even just an early Ruby Crystal, that extra HP can make such a difference if you're being threatened in a dive situation.
I feel like you were talking about that in our last series as well. The Hen's making use of it.
Yeah, I mean, it's just such a high value buy for early support. Even like, obviously, it's a no-brainer on things like a Rel.
BDD just going to Valkyrie away. Cross bomb not going to land onto Zeka as Delight turns up just to help him with the clear.
Yeah, it's a no-brainer on champions like Rel, but even on like enchanters, like often you can just grab like an early Ruby Crystal that builds into, you know, things like Moonstone, just for that extra bulkiness. It is so much value. And yeah, you know, Delight found a bit of time to go mid, doesn't really achieve anything, but helps get the wave push in, and now comes down towards bot. Viper pretty close in terms of farm. Do you see that pickaxe and the longsword picked up for Deft, though? So
yeah, that's
this is where the game's going to be focused on until we see anything happen with the stacks.
A slight improvement when it comes to the back, you could say, on the Deft side of things. Looking pretty good. First rate going to be an Infernal as well. To keep things spicy. Hope that means that we do get to a Cloud Soul or a Chemtech Soul. As, you know, Orcs, bit of a Chemtech enjoyer himself, or at least does bring a whole lot of them about. And I do love that Cloud. Still an opportunity here. So we haven't had a Cloud Soul this week, I swear.
We've been pretty dry on them.
It's been
It
not
has
great.
been quite sunny, generally.
Yesterday it was raining all day.
Yesterday. Yeah, but that's ocean, right?
Ah, true. Do we have one of those? I think we did. Oh, does make sense. So today, not very cloudy. So a bit of a shame. It might be a sign of things to come. As Peanut started off the grubs. BDD trying to keep Zeka out of here. Is Peanut just going to settle for one by the looks of things as the grasping roots come out. And perfect, coming on over. We'll try and get Doran out of there. But it looks like the last two grubs will go over to KT. HLE Esports just going to be settling for the one.
Yep, taking that one always important because of the extra XP you get. Peanut happy to do that. Keep pretty close to the Zyra in terms of farm. But with the Faded Ashes and inventory, this is a point where really the Zyra starts to pick up pace even more. I feel like early levels, like obviously Zyra's got a faster early clear than Sejuani, but you saw like Peanut was able to meet Yosik in the bot lane after that phase clear at the same time, but later on, it is just, you're gonna get outpaced so hard.
Yeah, and I think that the pace difference has to be much higher as well to really utilize it when it comes to actually... Oh, here's Peanut coming in with a beautiful wraparound onto BDD, and that is first blood going over to Zeka Elementary as this Sejuani pick coming in and paying off.
Yep, really nicely done. Zeka gets the health low, and then there, right at the end, has enough damage with the ult auto to finish it off. A really good gank from Peanut. And already, there was a bit of a CS discrepancy in the mid lane, but after that kill, 20 CS advantage, kill in pocket, this is really good for Zeka.
Yeah, looking fantastic. The woes of BDD going to continue here as well.
And it kind of makes you wonder, you know, they could have taken it just onto themselves. They opted into the Corki. It's not going so hot.
Well, there is a little knockback there from Perfect. Doran doesn't look like he's too phased by it. He does have a lot of buttons that just do a lot of things. He's able to put up that shield to be just fine. Beryl down here, waiting for Deft to come back, just making sure he maximizes his experience gains. And there is a Pureshik waiting in the wings. Let's see whether this is where KT can find their first avenue in. So far, only really the kill gold going in favor of HLE Esports. And if it is Deft that's able to get one of these kills here, then KT can really skyrocket their advantage.
Yeah, I feel like we're still a little bit early, but kind of approaching the point where a stack check would be nice. But yeah, we'll see the replay. So Zeka, I think the big thing is forcing the Valkyrie and obviously also getting BDD pretty low here. But without that, you know, BDD doesn't end up dodging, doesn't end up flashing initially, flashes after, and Zeka just follows. The damage is there. Pretty well played.
Yep, all too easy. As he flashes the broccoli there as well. Good to see. It's okay. Mid lane, definitely a big point of power here for Hummerlife Esports at this point in time, as Beryl looks unperturbed by 2 people being over here, but maybe he should be a little bit more perturbed. Tyler Shaw loses half of his health bar. As BDD fighting against Zeka. There is a lot of fog of war behind there, but he has a decent idea. Peanut isn't in the areas. Okay, if at first you don't succeed, try again, and that is the cash-in for Deft. Delight, just nothing he could do.
And you saw as well, Viper ulted very early, like expecting the dive, expecting to be able to fight their way out. But the stacks had been built up enough to just execute Delight on the back end. The CC chain really nicely done. And now a big cash in for the Draven. I think that was 493 extra gold. Oh, BDD,
oh yeah. Kyoshik knows exactly what's going on here. There's the grasping roots. Peanut does have to flash immediately away. And even though he picked up turret aggro, he will survive. Does have to blow that summoner though, and Kyoshik, most importantly, keeps his mid laner alive.
Yeah, Kyoshik playing it so well, making his way to mid, covers BDD here from another gank when he is flashless, and also gets Peanut's summoner spell just from bot to mid in such a rapid move, and ends up helping both lanes out drastically.
Yeah, really nicely done. Zeka with an explosive charge on the turret. Already has taken down a couple of plates, but still has that lead there. Gold well and truly even. Maybe not anymore, as Kyoshik gonna get a bit of a taste of his own medicine, and he will be taken down with the help of Delight getting his revenge.
Yep, just found sleeping a little bit in the jungle. Good moves there from Delight, from Peanut, from Zeka, and also handing the kill over the Tristana. 2-0 now with his CS lead as well, looking pretty dangerous, and this is a pick that Zeka is very proficient on.
Oh yeah. Here on the bottom side, that is going to be a teleport interrupted, all out actually invested as well onto Doran is perfect. Happy to play some Biffo.
I'm trying to understand the context of that TP, because surely you must have known Perfect was nearby, and it's Cassante, he can always interrupt it.
Yeah.
Very strange. But now Perfect, no ult.
And
it still might be a tricky dive, but it looks like he's just going to back away.
Well, Doran is going to crash into the wall and does get the Impale onto the Cassante. Remember, there's no all out, and he's going to get permanently frosted and taken down. The Whirling Death comes on in. That means that they're not going to be able to do as much work to the turret. Should guarantee that our KT are able to take down first brick. They're also able to deal with this wave as well. So it is Grubs going towards Hummerlife Esports. Should be 4-2. Doesn't look like they're going to be able to get there at all on the side of KT.
Yeah, I'd like to see KT pick... Oh, this could be a little dangerous.
Yeah, that is a teleport of all time, absolutely. As Perfect is going to get crashed into. He is pretty tanky. Does get a bit of a push away there as Doran not going to be able to tank anymore. Permafrost comes in. Viper slowed down. The health bar's very low, and yeah, he's just taking a beating. He does have his Crossfire Gauntlet, and Beryl is turning up here as well. Level 7, he does finally fall, and the Solar Flare was cool, I guess.
You know, they kill him, but he bought so much time. The minion wave gets cleared, the tower doesn't go down. I honestly don't even think it's that bad of a trade. I think Perfect might have just made the right call there. Yes, he dies, but the gold denied from the plates, the time bought, it gives KT an advantage to get on the map. So it sounds strange to say, but it's kind of similar to when we were having lane swaps and top laners would teleport in to die. I don't think this play was good, by the way. He definitely would die here. But the TP in to protect the tower, to buy time, he gets a lot of experience on the wave. I think might not look as bad as it seemed, that he just bought so much time. 4 members of Hummerlife Esports had to commit so long to finally take out this Cassante.
Yeah. Kind of working. He was just very, very tanky with his first item by first completion, and Beryl almost got there on time as well.
Yep, and Beryl gets to clear out the wave. The Dragon got taken, bot tower got taken, obviously. So we end up seeing the gold is about even, but bear in mind, Hummerlife Esports have 3 extra kills.
Yeah. And KT have a lot to look forward to as when the game gets to later on, but I guess you're probably looking at Hummerlife Esports to have a little bit of that scaling advantage with their double hyper carries in both the Tristana and the Zeri. I'm just thinking that KT do have sort of a moment in the mid game where they can really get a stranglehold, and that hasn't turned up just yet.
Yeah.
I think cresting about the 15-minute mark, that's when, you know, you can utilize Deft, who has a second round of adoration stacks to cash in with. He already has that gold advantage. He already has that item advantage building up. And they can use that to snowball in theory.
2 items of Corki has been really strong. You know, Def will be pretty strong around there. Kyosik will be strong for the whole game on this Zyra, really.
Yep.
But I think that's the point, because I think when Zeka and Viper get to 3, that's when it feels really hard.
Yep, and the Zyra just so good into the triple tanks on the side of Humble Esports as well, just with the amount of shredding you can do with the Leandri's built up and the amount of consistent damage that she does have. Okay. There is Delight poking his head forward. Extended Beam doesn't land onto Pyosik here, trying to stay out of the way. As the Rift Herald has been started here by Humble Esports. 5-man grouped up. You can see B2D rotating over a little bit later. Plants are going to be set up here as KT still haven't pulled the trigger just yet. Look out for the Solar Flare to start this one up as Beryl walking on in there. That's going to be the Glacial Prison, and Peanut, he's able to lock down the Rift Herald. Stranglethorns does absolutely nothing, and Doran just impales Beryl. It's a complete and utter catastrophe for KT. One after the other. Mario is diving over the top of them, and BDD can do nothing. It's a clean ace and a complete belly flop from KT.
I really don't think they should have let Zeka get Tristana, and they are paying for it now. I mean, the team fight started so well for them, but Zeka just gets the cleanup again and again and again. And I think that window we're talking about in the mid game, it has gone. It has been broken.
Yeah.
It's just glass on the floor.
I'm glad we had that time where we could talk about KT's, you know, positive possibilities.
Maybe that was on us, you know, we hyped it up a little bit. But yeah, I mean, the big thing here is Beryl ends up getting chunked out a bit by the Skarner and by the ult for Sejuani. Kyosik uses his ult, but no plants are alive to be buffed by it. Immediately they take out the Leona, and then it just resets City after that. The front line died so quickly, and it's just bouncing one after another. Even there, Zeka actually got the slow on a BDD, I believe, over the wall.
Yeah. Watch this from Zeka's perspective. And he's like, sorry I missed my ult, but I don't know whether... Zyra missed ult is what he said. And then he just presses W a bunch of times. And yeah, you're right. We don't manage to get the slow as well.
Honestly, really nice played. Like, got the slow and then backed off, so BDD didn't have a chance to turn it around.
Oh, BDD now finds himself with a few friends in the area.
I don't think you're escaping them.
Yeah, this one's going to be a roughie. Does Valkyrie out of the way of that one.
I am wrong.
Yeah, so he just flashes and he's going to be okay, I guess.
He can just do that. But still, not ideal, losing the flash. And I feel like to really get the feel of the state of the game, you should look at the inventory of Zeka and then the inventory of BDD. You can't currently do it. Maybe for the best.
Yeah, it's 2,600 gold.
But it's also, it's not even just the gold. It's like when you specifically look at what is in BDD's inventory, it's so dire. It just, look at that. None of that looks even like vaguely
At least he's got a fairy in a bottle so that he can pop back up again. With
that five ability haze coming in.
Oh wait, doesn't it give you an extra life?
If only.
Yeah.
If only.
Would have been good. Well, that is probably the biggest problem that KT are facing. Outside of that though, Deft able to immediately cleanse. Not very much, but still not going to get hit by the Glacial Prison. They'll be happy with that. Not so happy with the fact that the Rift Herald just tore down their inner turret. Humble Esports are continuing the siege on this bottom side. The craziest thing about this is Perfect is going to go somewhat aggressive. See what he can actually find here, as a blender seems to be the answer. Delight's the one that ends up locking down the kill in the end. But Perfect, I think, probably wondering where any teammates at all are.
Yeah, I feel like that's been a consistent theme for Perfect. And you know, there was the earlier one where I said, you know, this might have actually worked out okay. This one didn't. No. You know, and I think out of those 4 deaths, there's only one that I can kind of excuse. The other 3, you're on your own, buddy.
And the thing that really it allows it to really sink in, really get home, is like how far ahead Humble Esports are. It's the fact that we're not even talking about a 205 Zeri, who is right now feeling like a passenger in this game, where she could most definitely be a main character if Viper is given the time, but it just hasn't really been about him. And when a game isn't about the Zeri that's undying with a bunch of items, feeling fantastic, then you know you're in a pretty good spot.
Yep. Oh, wait, so if you look, see how it ballooned quite a bit about the 40-minute mark?
Yeah.
Yeah. That was
about when we were talking about KT being somewhat strong.
KT's mid-game.
Well, I'm not going to take responsibility, but I can understand whether anyone would want us to, you know? I understand where they're coming from, but I'm not taking any responsibility.
Yeah, I'm not taking it.
Not for that.
Well,
I think maybe next time we use a Stranglethorns, let's try and get some CC prior to pressing the button.
Yep.
So at least someone gets hit.
well, yep, they have a lot of CC on the team to set it up, but also there were no plants, and obviously the Stranglethorn increases the health of the plants and their attack speed.
Oh yeah, but that's secondary. But I'm saying, like, let's start with level
but even
1.
if you miss it, at least have some, like, it's not hard to have, like, one plant that died before the ult went off. And, like, that's the bare minimum. Just, if you're going to miss the ult, at least have some plants so it slightly dissuades Honor Life Esports from charging at you and killing every single member of your team. That's all I'm asking for.
The way you play Zyra is just spam W whenever you press any other button ever. That's what I do. And make sure you press all of them before you press the R one.
Yep.
And then hopefully there are plants.
Yep. That's
and
the
it
goal.
feels good.
That's
and then you also make sure that you aim your passive after you die, so you can do true damage to your opposition.
Exactly.
In a line.
Yeah.
Much like an Acathian surprise.
I mean,
cannot move around with.
I feel like sometimes mechanics are put in a game where it's like, it's kind of designed to show players how you play this character. And that really showed you that to play Zyra, you have to die a lot.
Yeah.
That's just how she functions. So now...
And once everyone learned, they just removed it.
Yeah. And so if you're a new player, you might not know Zyra's going to die a lot, but get big combos. But that obviously isn't happening here. The big combo's not coming through. The Baron started, but they will back away because they don't really need to risk anything in this game. And on top of that, it's also a Mountain Soul.
Oh,
you know,
God.
Sometimes, I mean, I think it's hard not to get value from Mountain Soul. Most games, even the squisher targets will get a lot of resist. But Honor Life Esports composition, I feel like is one of those ones where you're really getting value from Mountain Soul.
I also feel like Mountain Soul was kind of buffed with the fact that so many of our supports are just rushing Warmogs as well.
Yeah.
And so each individual Mountain Drake just feels better than it otherwise did.
Honestly, it's not, even if Honor Life Esports only get 2 Mountain Drakes and maybe the game ends before we get the Soul, those 2 Mountain Drakes will just make such a... you're already struggling to have damage.
Yeah. Well, we'll see whether KT can find some sort of miracle. I feel like I've said that so many times already, and it's only week 2.
I mean, I feel like, you know, if you had one of those weird charts where it has all the words, like, like featured in the text, if you had one of those for your casting, I feel like that line would just be like right in the center.
I know. I don't want to see the word cloud for me in KT games. Just does not sound very good. I think Caster Curse would probably be top of the list.
Yep. Maybe a weird starting with E would be somewhere.
It's just excited right in the middle. Oh, God.
Well, I could definitely say we're not excited right now.
Yep. I was trying to become the solution so much that I became the problem.
Can they? I think they can just burst it down before he gets there.
Feral trying to get in there. Nice Magnet Storm there from Delight just to play Keeper. They will be able to get rid of Pyoshik. Whirling Death not really doing too much, and Viper going to be gifted his 3rd kill of the game. PDD gets his Mirror Mana, which is fantastic, but nothing else is good news here for KT as the Baron is secured and Honor Life Esports now just looking to break open the base.
Yep, the setup's so good. Zyra isn't the fastest moving over, doesn't have a dash, so very easy just to lock the Zyra up. And it's funny, Def's ult, as it went through, Pyoshik, it looked like that's when he died. It looked like the old team killed him.
Yeah.
Unfortunately not. Honestly, if Def could team kill to get his cash in, he would.
I think it's probably worth, yeah. He also, it's like denying, you know, like what Gangplank used to be able to do with his parlay. Can't do that anymore. You also can't kill your teammates with your ultimate and get cash-ins.
God, right? Just don't let you have fun.
Yeah, I know. Fun police, am I right? It's just not fair. Maybe we should talk to Mr. Turley about it. There are a lot of things on the list of to talk to Mr. Turley about.
Yeah, that's going to be a long one.
Yeah. And imagine if we get through all of the lore for all of the champions as well. It's a lot of retcons that we might have ideas for at the same time. So maybe we just keep building to the email as time goes on.
You know for a fact, he instant trash. He probably has our emails pre-assigned to go to the trash.
Yeah, I actually think that's probably true.
Probably a good call.
In fact, maybe he was watching and he's like, oh yeah, no, I'm not even going to deal with this.
Yeah.
Might be the case, but I'd like to think positively. Except not about this game. This game's over. It's going to be an inhibitor going down. Zeka does so much damage. 3 items completed here. Crit Cloak as well. That's only making that Infinity Edge feel even better.
Yeah, and KT are just trying to clear the waves and probably thinking about game 2 right now.
Yep. Or dinner. Something like that. I don't think thinking about this game is really worth their time at this point. As they might go for one last-ditch effort. See whether they can find something.
I think the hope is that Hololive Esports jump into them. Maybe they get a big Zyra ult.
Yep.
That's your best hope to maybe get a couple of kills.
They are going to jump into them. Let's see whether it actually works out here, though, as Perfect is able to get out. Beryl not so lucky. And great capture Jack there from Deft, but he's still down extraordinarily low. Stranglethorns landing on more than nothing, but still going to be Pyoshik falling immediately. And look at this. So many beads, so many pictures of beads all over the ground as Zeka, all the range in the world, will be taking down Nexus turrets now. And he does get engaged on by Perfect, looks for the all-out, tries to get in there, just wants to kill the Tristana, but he's not going to be able to do so. Deft gets rocks thrown at him, he's on the fountain, the Nexus is dead. Hololive Esports, a statement game 1 against KT.
Yep, really strong performance coming out, and I feel like Hololive so far this season haven't fully convinced me, but I think this one was a very convincing win. Yes, KT on at the best form, but ultimately just really delivered, really just knocked them down a peg, and KT going to be reeling a bit going into that game 2.
Yeah, I do think that we might have got the wrong read on Hololive Esports because we didn't start out with the right read on D+ Kia. I think D+ have since proved to us that they are a very good team. Despite that loss against T1, I think that it was a little bit of, man, we should have won that game 1 and then let that emotionally drive them towards game 2. Otherwise, they've looked fantastic. And so I think the battle for, you know, one of these top positions in the LCK will be between D+ Kia and Hololive Esports. So an understandable loss there. Otherwise, it's just been clean sailing. And so here against KT, very, very comfortable victory in game number 1. We can see here on the damage charts, Zeka and Viper, it's all about them. The tanks just set them up and they knocked them down. And KT kind of had everything going the direction they wanted it to until it all went elsewhere.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm sure the space will talk about this, but Zeka's Tristana, problematic. Yeah, I think you want to let him have it, and the Draven, not very convincing.
Yep, the Corki not really deserving the priority that we saw either. I think the early clear from Pyoshik was fine, but the rest of it just wasn't quite there. Let's dive into a break, and then when we get back, the space is going to break down. We'll see you for game 2.
내가 걸리기 전에.
라인 들어갈 때 내가 볼게.
오케이. 오케이. 봐도 돼. 레오나 너.
레오나 빨렸어. 레오나 먼저.
오케이 고. 레오나 먼저.
드레이븐 정합 빠졌고. 드레이븐 프리스 조심.
타이라 놓고
타이라만.
한번 빠지고. 타워.
야, 우리 워먹으니까 서포트 정글 피 채우면 끝나. 라인 끝낼 생각하자, 얘들아.
라인 끝내.
아리타 먼저.
타워.
드레이븐 클린즈 없고.
야, 산테 노플.
야, 여기 쌈 봐줘.
쌈 보자. 야, 봐줘. 살려줘. 드분 노플. 이제 노플. 끝내자. 나이스.
But you gave over just too much to the opponents, and I think that's been the issue. And I don't think you can let Zeka get the Tristana
Yeah.
But to be fair, I also wasn't so sure on the Draven from the side of KT as well. So they are on blue side. It will likely be a complete overhaul in terms of draft. And already the Maokai has been banned, of course. The Sejuani, though, are going to be denied for Peanut. And Honor Life Esports will ban Senna and Callisto, which it did last time. Tristana gone to Honor Life Esports. They can ban Ashe here. They can ban Rumble here. They can ban Talia here. But something will go through. They go for the Rumble. KT could just go Talia first pick. I think it'd make a lot of sense. If you pick Ashe, they're probably just going...
Wow. That really comes out of left field for me. I don't know whether I was a huge fan of the Corki personally, but maybe this is an opportunity for BDD to show us the other side of the coin. Or maybe they have a flex opportunity towards that bottom side. You have no idea. We'll just have to see. Ashe, a pretty obvious pickup here. We do see her pretty consistently banned. Viper has already picked up a win on the champion as well. I believe it was in their series against DK in the one game that they won. As, all right, with a bit of added utility coming out of the bottom lane, could be a possible angle for a Nidalee, but I don't think we're ever that excited about it. And Askana is feeling like a pretty comfortable lock in here. So let's round out the first round of picks, KT, and let's see whether we can find something that's actually going to work this time around.
Yeah, maybe we even see the Talia jungle. Obviously, you want some AP somewhere else in the composition. It just looks like it's going to be the Zyra again. And potentially they want to secure something in the bot lane, knowing they're going up against the Ashe. Maybe they want to grab the Nautilus up against it. Maybe they want to pick up an AD carry for Deft. Or maybe they just want to take the Cassante and match the Skarner, because that's already been taken. I think they have options here.
A Zeri pickway is an interesting option.
Yeah, they're going to opt for that one. So denying the Zeri away from Viper. Obviously a lot of team fight potential. We're going to see what Honor Life Esports want to take themselves.
There's the Yone.
Yep, Yone for Zeka. Obviously a pick he's very experienced on. And the thing is, if you're trying to dive into like a Zyra, there is some champions that can really struggle with it, but Yone is one who can kind of just circumvent everything. You can just E ult and, you know, be on top of the Zyra almost immediately if you connect with that. Then unsurprisingly, Cassante is going to be banned away.
Yeah, this could be a tough time for Perfect, to be perfectly honest. Well, saying Perfect too many times there. Nidalee going to be taken away. Don't know whether I really rate that one at all. I think that, you know, Peanut can head towards a lot of different picks coming out of the jungle. Talia is still up and available, something that he can head towards if he would like to. Could be pretty powerful into the Valkyries and the dashes that both the Zeri and the Corki have. Leona taken away from Beryl, not going to be able to play what he played in the last game that they prioritized as their third pick. And will it be the Talia Respect as a potential jungle pick, or will it be Brand, will it be Karthus? A few different options here.
I mean, KT don't have a ton of tanks yet, but obviously could pick some up. Top lane and support at the end of this rotation.
Haha.
Morgana ban comes out. Bit of an interesting one.
This is something that I believe Chronicle was talking about. She's doing okay in the jungle at the moment.
Yeah, I guess makes sense. You do expect there to be an AP jungler. Interesting. I mean, I guess the expectation in the current meta is we're just going to see melee support, so they're locking the Alistar in, but I feel like that frees up KT to go for a Lulu if they really want to. But I guess maybe they want some CC layering for the Zyra.
Yeah, it could be the option. Yeah, you don't really need to worry about locking Nautilus, you know, at the threat of it being picked away from you and having that targeted CC for the Zeri composition.
I think Lulu would give you such a free lane, and then so much backline protection, and your anti-dive would be very potent. But they opt for the Nautilus, you know, I think a lot of supports in the LCK definitely want that agency here for the engage pick, so they go for that one.
They also don't have anyone to really go in, so using the Wild Growth as another engage augmentation is not really as much of a thing.
Yeah, I think it'd definitely be more of a, oh, the enemy Yone is on top of my carry, I want to use that. And then the typical, well, let's just pick Renekton because we're in the LCK. Woohoo!
And it does mean that he's going to be building a lot of health. This could give Peanut an opportunity to head towards something that can build a Leandries.
You know, honestly, I feel like Brand would be pretty good here. In the first 3 picks, I wasn't so convinced. So if you took Brand on 4, it wouldn't have been sold.
Oh my god.
You now have a Nautilus Renekton just to hit.
Oh, fiddlesticks! Okay, well that's a different one. Peanut just demonstrating that he does indeed still attend the kitchen at some points in time. So that is going to give us something to think about. I was really looking forward to the Brand versus Zyra because it's actually Plants versus Zombies,
Honestly,
which is kind of awesome.
In terms of adding to the Yone dive, I'm actually really scared for KT how they're going to deal with this Fiddlesticks because his ult will be devastating. They don't have a good answer to it. They don't have easy disengage. There's a lot of dive threats. If an Ashe arrow comes flying over and the rest of the squad from Honolife Esports are gunning for you, you're going to have a bad time.
Yeah. I am a little bit scared. And Crowstorm wards are something that we haven't necessarily needed to think about for quite some time. There are a lot of champions that do kind of warp the way that you need to play the game, and I think that you just desperately need to have every single flank angle, every brush around where you're planning to fight warded so that you don't just get Crowstormed into. And there's, the surprise party Fiddlesticks, which is, I already know that's what Peanut's going to be playing.
It has to.
I mean, it's Peanut. And some fans from Australia as well, which is super cool. Welcome, welcome.
Oh, I was
from there.
From Australia, yeah.
Yeah. Grew up there. Now, I'm feeling a bit more Korean these days. But let's dive in. Let's see whether Homolife Esports can make this Fiddlesticks work or whether KT roster can actually fight back. Let's jump into the rift. All right, a little bit of partying going on before Viper does leave the fountain. You love to see it. And I want to address something, Orcs, that we failed to in the draft, which I think is actually extraordinarily important. We were discussing the fact that Lulu would have been a really good pick. We know that Lulu Zeri, very powerful. Beryl instead picked Nautilus to give us an opportunity to go back to the lore. See whether that voyage that Nautilus went on with this new armor, that his new captain who usurped his boat out from under him because they could not afford to keep it because all of the salvage was just too thin. There weren't enough boats that were crashing for them to actually go and salvage.
Man.
Yeah. And now we get to go back to the story to see how that journey goes, see whether the rewards were actually as fruitful as the captain promised.
I need to know. I'm on the edge of my seat.
I know. I can see that. I'm sitting next to you. I can see. He is, in fact, on the edge of the seat. But let's first address some of these lanes and how things are going to go. The space mentioned priority. BDD at the moment does have a fair bit of that. Of course, Corky in the early levels, especially now, is going to be feeling all right in this matchup. You can see that's working out so far. Zeka is very good at navigating Yone matchups. He always has been. This is one of the Zeka champions, as we're going to see he hasn't been winning the champion itself very much, but you can see here on the bottom side has been winning a lot. The cleanse does come down so that the ignite doesn't quite work out, but speaking of not working out, I think KT wins as far as that battle is concerned, the not working out battle.
Wasn't even really close, and I feel like if you're winning, I mean, I know obviously Ashe is great level 1, but if you're winning bot lane 2v2 level 1 with an Alistar, you know things are going pretty rough. Viper really taking control of the lane.
Wow, it's such a surprise. It's the surprise party Fiddlesticks.
Yeah, the not so surprising party Fiddlesticks. Just regular party Fiddlesticks.
Yep. He is just draining as he makes his way around.
I feel like the vibe would be so different if it was just party Fiddlesticks, you know?
It'd be very similar to Viper's project.
I'd imagine him wearing, like, you know, the outfits LMFAO had? You know, that'd be a great skin.
And Peanut, we know that he'd use it. As he's able to take both his Krugs and his Brambleback at the same time. Feeling good about that one. Kyoshik made his way down, and Viper and Delight, they read it. They knew the timings, and they weren't going to fall into the trap.
What was also perfect is because they pushed so hard early, they got the bounce back, so now they're in a prime position to not be challenged. Kyoshik can't really do much apart from take the Scuttle Crab. Zeka's doing a bit better in the mid lane. Obviously, BDD's getting a lot of Fair Strike procs, but Doran's Shield and Second Wind doing a lot of value for a melee champion. So things looking pretty solid for Home Life Esports.
Yep. Zeka feeling absolutely fine. You can imagine that this is going to feel pretty good for him. Takes a turret shot, but he does stop BDD's back, which could actually be pretty huge. BDD wanting to go for a bit of a cheater, get that extra bit of control in the lane, and then force Zeka into a poor back timing. Not going to be able to do so.
Yeah, I'm guessing probably wanted to back and grab a tier, you know, especially if you're trading a lot. Your mana cost can be a bit annoying on Corki, but also just stacking it as soon as possible.
Yep. Doesn't have a lot of the old blue stuff at this point in time. As we can see here, is Delight is just going to make sure that Beryl can't hold the wave. And Deft should be able to make it back before anything is going to fall down of note. So it is just fine. So far, so good. But I'm not going to talk about KT and possibilities for the mid-game ever again. Just not. I don't think that is in our best interest. And you know what really told me that KT are having a rough time? It's the fact that no one mentioned that we said anything. As Zeka is just going to hop underneath the turret and do a fair bit of damage there to BDD as he's dealing with these minions. But yeah, no one was really sad. They were just pretty sad. You know, check the Reddit thread, check Twitter, and it's just...
Yeah, we're not even getting blamed anymore.
No, it's just acceptance. That's what we've hit.
Yeah.
It's the final level, which is not where I thought we'd be at. I didn't think that we'd
final
get there that
level
quickly.
before KT are back on top.
Oh, come on.
Oh, God.
Let's not do that. It's okay. Valkyrie out here from BDD. He was used to that. He was pressing that button quite a lot against the Tristana. And Pioshik has been pretty quiet. Still ahead in farm, as we can see. Peanut still draining the Raptors at this point in time. As Doran and Perfect, a little bit of an animal battle. Both of these animals, well, actually, I don't know whether there are scorpions in Egypt. Because I know as far as like desert crocodiles are concerned, that is like, you know, the Nile crocodile is one of the ones that does live pretty close to the desert.
I feel like scorpions being in Egypt is something that in my mind I'm like, well, that would make, yeah, of course.
That would make sense.
But I don't know. And
yeah,
I feel
neither
like
do I.
I don't want to say for sure because that would make me sound very uninformed.
And I've always really wanted to go to Egypt, and I haven't done a lot of research on it, you know?
Yeah, so if there's any experts on Egyptian ecology who are listening right now.
Yeah, that'd be really, really good. And we'll get to that right after we get to the Nautilus lore.
Yeah, we've got a list of topics to bin through.
Yeah, there's certainly, yeah. Maybe we'll just have to make a YouTube channel, you know? I don't know. I've done that before, though, and it was always pretty disappointing. As okay, Zeka taking a lot of damage. Pioshik here in the nick of time. Flash out from Zeka. Rocket goes wide. Peanut was here, not able to actually affect the play, and this is looking better. We're not enthused, but we're, you know, we're proud. Proud of what BDD did in that one moment, that one isolated moment. That was cool. Doesn't mean anything for the future. It's fine.
Yep. Zeka having a bit of a rough time, and you know the damage that Corki has in those close-up trades can be very threatening. So one misplay, one misstep can be really punishing. And now Zeka flashes and has to recall with no TP.
Oh, you love to see that ward.
Oh, and it's just outside the range.
Yeah, nicely done. So puts down the little scarecrow. And he'll make his way over to his bottom side jungle. So Peanut still just farming things up. Has managed to hit that level 6, so does have a Crowstorm opportunity. That is an incredibly pivotal ultimate. If you can find an opportunity to use it. Let's see whether he can set anything up. To lock down any of the members of KT. Possibly get a first blood. Start Life Esports off on the right track. Or whether it's going to be Pioshik landing a few of these plants first. Getting that Stranglethorns to work out for them. He's got item number 1. He's feeling really good. Able to zip through this jungle very, very quickly. Let's just see. 1,000 gold, the lead for KT. They have somewhat of an advantage. Objectively, KT are ahead right now.
I'm not sure you should have said that.
I mean, come on. What else am I supposed to say? Because I know I felt bad saying it. How do I remove this feeling?
Look, we're working on it. Okay, we got top people trying to figure out how you can describe
top people.
The top people.
Yeah.
Trying to work out how you can describe KT's game state without sounding as if you're bigging them up. It's a difficult task currently.
Yeah.
But we're kind of waiting for a...
We have linguists on it.
Yeah.
We're looking into other languages because English is proving too difficult. So if we start saying something that not everyone can understand, That's why. It's because we just don't have a version of it yet.
I'll be honest, I think when you talk in English, sometimes people don't understand.
Yeah, that's a very good point. I am unfortunately hybridizing between English and Australian.
Yeah.
A lot of the time.
I think a lot of people assume that if you're fluent in English, you got a pretty good grasp of Australian, but it's just not true.
No, it's not. Straight up. As Delight get a flash, that was about as late as he could have possibly flashed to avoid that one.
Yeah. Also, like, he was pretty, I think a little bit, like, he wasn't that close to the wall. I think there was a chance he could have failed the flash. He was, like, a little bit further away. So
yeah.
Just Ultra Instinct manages to get away from that one. Doesn't end up doing anything more. Obviously, he had ult, but I think you would have just ended up slowly dying if you were caught in that situation.
Yeah.
And KT, they got those early grubs, but they're also looking towards the Dragon now. And Unlife Esports haven't really done much of anything so far this game.
Not so much. We've got a Fiddlesticks roaming on over, but Beryl should be able to spot out what's going on there. Scryer's Bloom comes on through.
You know what? Hanging out in a Dragon Pit when a Fiddlesticks is showing up.
Yeah. That's something worth respecting, I think, and they are going to do so. Dragon going to lose interest in the whole situation, and so does Life Esports. So Dragon going to have to be taken down yet again, but it looks like KT will be able to take control.
Yep, managed to reaffirm control. Beryl stops them from clearing that control ward in the Banana Brush, and then stands guard.
Banana control. That's what it's all about. That's what you need. And Peanut, he's coming down yet again. Deft able to just do that thing that Zeri does, which is negate most of the engage attempts. Of course, unless, you know, your opposition is Lehens that we saw in our previous series. Delight has a few options there. You can, of course, you know, headbutt Pulp and stuff like that. But it is difficult to get that timing to work. Deft's going to be able to get the cannon. Is Hook going to connect onto Delight? Let's see whether he has to use the Unbreakable Will. There's the knock-up, and he does use it. Ultimate comes out from Deft. Unbreakable Will still running for now, but the Stranglethorns, that's going to help lock this one down. And in comes Peanut. There's the Crow Storm. Beryl going to be taken down first, so they return the favor. Both supports lying down, but this time, at least KT got the first blood.
And I think the main thing is when you're playing at the Fiddlesticks, you always just got to stop chasing a lot sooner than you would otherwise, because just assume he's hanging around in the shadows waiting to ult. He came in there, manages to take out Beryl, and even though it is first blood for KT, Delight was flashless going into that. They end up burning a couple of flashes from KT. Still feels pretty even overall, but we'll see if they can capitalize on those. And Delight realizes they are just going to focus him down. They're not going to let him get away, so does pop the ultimate. The ult from the Zyra getting a lot of value, but then just a bit of an overstep. I think as soon as Viper flashes, just back away.
Yeah.
Just got to have that restraint, that added restraint into a Fiddlesticks.
Yep, and you're talking to Beryl, so understand that that restraint not going to exist. Not a thing.
Not happening.
Never happening. As the Grubs going to be considered here by Life Esports. 3 already picked up by KT, so wanting to return that one as okay, Beryl once again going to get caught out and will just explode. Doran takes a trip over the rocks and he's flashing forward, doesn't find the Impale. The knock-up comes in and now perfect! He flashes in, he's got the Dominus running Slice and Dice and Undead! As now Viper's gonna turn it, he finds the volley onto 3 members, the Blast Cone to try and negate the aggression, and Viper says, nah man, still gonna kill you, finds the volley from behind the wall. And Arrow will connect onto Deft. He doesn't have a cleanse for that one, and he will just be wiped out. What is it, 12.5 minutes as Beryl is going to at least get one back. Goshik also able to look for a little bit there, but doesn't have the Rylai's, so will not be able to CC with that.
You know, it didn't go as bad as last game, but it kind of feels like a bit of deja vu.
Yeah, a lot of deja vu.
KT, same spot, 5v5 team fight, and it goes horrifically wrong. Beryl, no flash from the previous play, doesn't get to play the game. Just CC locked to death. And then Life Esports honestly whiffed so much. Ults from Zeka and Doran whiff. So it looks like a re-engage can happen. Perfect's like, I can go in, I'm strong. Melted. Yeah. Melted immediately, and then the chase down comes in, and with both the Ashe and the Skarner launching boulders at people, the chase down is so powerful. They managed to get BDD there with the volley. Deft ends up with no cleanse, getting caught out by the Ashe ultimate. And even though there is this trade kill at the end from Beryl, still massively in favor of Life Esports.
Meanwhile in live, Earth lies on the ground.
I just want to take this moment
to
remind everyone that BDD is very good at Talia.
He's also providing Warwick a new skin. It's actually a very old skin.
Yeah, and now Perfect at 2. But yeah, BDD, very good at Talia. Talia been super strong on the current patch, and they first picked the Corki both games, and it's not been working.
Yeah, I didn't even process the fact that Perfect died there towards the top side. We're going to have a look at this one more time. BDD is just 1v1 under the turret.
Yeah. And here, the joys of playing into Skarner.
Special delivery.
Yeah.
Wow, it's just so
아,
much
쉽게
CC.
먹어.
Yeah, enjoy.
You know, this is why it's always Skarner Cassante, because at least if Skarner does that to Cassante, he can then grab Skarner and like launch him through a wall away. I just think neither of those champions are fair when they're playing against anything else.
Well, some plants now in the pit. Life Esports do manage to take down the Rift Herald. Stranglethorns does a fair bit of work. Interrupts the headbutt, in fact, as Delight. I don't know whether he's going to be able to get out of this one, and the anchor connecting should be able to spell the end of him. Does have flash.
Oh.
Will flash the wall. He has about, 50 health. He'll just walk away.
It's cold as ice, man.
Yeah.
You
Not
can see him in the player cam. He's just leaning back, chill as anything.
Yeah, I was just wondering, like, were there any breaks, like, flying by? Did KT have a chance to catch any of them? I don't think so. It's just...
I feel like that's
not
the
really...
one, right? Like, don't get me wrong, this game's been going pretty badly. And, I mean, the series, I mean, KT Split has. But that's the one where it's just like, you're like, okay, at least we can get the scraps, and you don't even get the scraps. You don't even get that. So, bit of a heartbreaker for KT fans, anyone who's ever watched a KT game. But for Life Esports fans, looking pretty good.
Yeah, and, you know, for fans of DRX in 2022, especially for Zeka fans at that time, you know, when people were saying, well, it could have been a lot of different mid laners, Zeka is really making sure that you guys put some respect on his name. Because he has back-to-back just obliterated
살았어?
You know
BDD.
what's pretty cool is he like faked going to the left, and you could see that like deft move, thinking, oh, he's gonna flash around here, and then he did this crazy move where he walked to the right
Yeah.
and then flashed.
Very cool. And was able to survive. So Delight. Only dying that one time.
I was honestly ready to talk about, you know, Pletter's justice for supports.
Yeah.
Because I was like, yo, they just leave Delight to die. But in fact, they just had supreme confidence.
Well, I mean, it is justice for supports because they did leave him to die and he didn't die.
It's like, Delight comes back to base like, guys, I live. They're like, oh!
They're like,
Yeah,
oh,
that's great.
that's so cool.
Good to see you.
Yeah,
I mean, we knew you would live.
Yeah, we tried to save you, I swear. Like, no, seriously.
Look, if you needed help, you wouldn't have survived
Yeah.
without us. So clearly you didn't need any help.
All right. Well, Zeka is going to turn up. Hook is going to miss. Picks the difference between the real one and the other one. Soul version, unbound version. As Riftwell going to pop down, that is Delight. Is going to ride it into this turret as Doran can take a trip over this wall whenever he would like. Flash out from Koshik to avoid it. Grasping Root's not going to connect there, as they're not able to take down the turret this time around, but the flash out of the Zyra, very important summoner spell. We'll have to play a whole lot more carefully now. It's not the same advantage that they had at this point in the last game, but it is similar.
Oh no, oh no.
Yeah, it's a bit of a face check situation here. Crowstorm does come on out. There's the ulti! They don't want just one, but maybe it's a bridge too far. Never mind, he's fine. He's able to get just rebound and totally sorted. BDD, that was optimistic at best. As Viper is in the river.
No, not again.
And he's flashing a wall. Jeff says, not this time!
Yeah, if Viper lived there, I think we should just enable FF options in pro game.
Yeah, I would agree.
But they got him. They got him. At least they...
What?
They traded... You know, it's not even just today. Today and yesterday, we've both been casted. It's been a weird one.
It has been really weird. Like, all of the games, in their own ways, have been weird. As Def's going to try and get out of there. He's not going to be able to, as Zeka is just going to execute him.
Yeah, sadly, been his flash, killing Viper, which I think every single person in the world would say was justified. But it did make him pay. Oh no.
Koshik thought that maybe he could go to the jungle, and I don't know whether that was something that in fact he could do, as at least he gets the Merc Wolf. And that's an impale onto BDD. He's also going to be sacrificed.
you know, in some way, I think it's just because it's KT on Life Esports instead. But in some way, Bro Gen G felt less brutal than this.
Yeah, this feels more brutal. You're right. You're right.
It's
maybe it's expectation, but even expectation
I think
was
it's
pretty
just,
low.
it's a lot of it's just the whole package, you know, everything together. I think
Yeah.
we also looked at Bro from, you know, Polu had some good moments, but like they're doing their best, and it is Gen G, but this just kind of feels like, wow.
I think the situation is largely about where KT were the end of last year and the end of last season, where we thought that they were perhaps a contender, and it's really just not looking much like that.
Yeah, I mean, I just want to draw your eyes to, I mean, this, he has the Triforce. He has the Triforce at least now. But like, look at the mid gap. It's 5-0 with like a 50 CS lead.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's Zeka's Yone, and I'm sure that there's a lot of people yelling at the TV that are like, it's Zeka, obviously you have to ban the Yone and things like that. You can't ban that many champions, right? Like,
wait, so you know how Yone is quite mobile and uses a lot of dashes?
Got it.
Imagine if there's a champion, perhaps a mage, who could put rocks down on the ground.
Yeah, but that was that was bad. Never mind.
Well, maybe BDD doesn't play Taliyah. Do you have any footage or any tape of him playing Taliyah successfully? Maybe from spring, last summer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do.
But I think first pick Corki, of course. First pick Corki, always the way.
I think sometimes you get a meta read wrong, and maybe
for 4 series in a row.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, Beryl is going to find himself a hook here. Doran going to get knocked around a little bit. Deft coming on over, wants to be able to grab himself a kill. But Doran still has 50% of his health bar.
Yeah, he's for sure taking damage, by the way.
Yeah, totally.
Definitely losing health.
Yeah, I can see that. 3-0-3 on the Skarner, 2 items completed. Zeka is standing on top of a ward, but there is no one here to lock this one down. It is another Ocean Drake this time, as the arrow will connect onto Pyoshik. That's a pretty powerful one, as Beryl just going to try and play bodyguard, not able to interrupt. The Crow Storm as Peanut takes down the Zyra. Deft just wanting to try and do some damage in this instance, but it is a bloodbath, and it is all KT's blood on the ground. Perfect just trying to clear out the wave, because that's all he really has left. Viper going to be gifted a triple kill after that one. And the Baron just turned up and will be taken down as, wow, the surprise party on the Baron.
Yeah.
Looking like it's a lot of fun here for Peanut, as he is just going to take it down with the help of his bottom lane.
Deft here, there was a party going on, and he definitely wanted an invite to that.
That was a gate crash, but emphasis on the crash. Let's just say that.
It is just visceral. And yeah, this arrow, pretty fantastic. The follow-up comes in. You can see Beryl's like, I'll stop them. No, you won't. And then Deft's decision to dash.
Yeah.
It's silly. I mean, at this point,
yeah,
it doesn't matter. It's just for our enjoyment. And Perfect will go down in the end. Not had a great game. Not really had a great series, but I don't think any KT members really had a great game or series. It has just been a rough one.
Well, at least in KT games, in KT series, the Zyra win rate is now even. If they aren't able to turn this one around, as Delight was not the one they were really going to aim for. This time, Deft is going to make his way out. Pyoshik going to get impaled. Does manage to get the Stranglethorns down, but it does absolutely nothing, as Extendo Beam will try to deter Harmalife Esports from going for the dive. As what? That's a lot of damage there from Zek. I don't know why I was that surprised.
Weirdly fed.
He is
3 levels up on BDD.
Yeah. Yeah, he's a very large Yone. As now the rest of Harmalife going to be able to break down this inhibitor turret in the mid lane. Peanut does have Crowstorm at the ready. And look to dive in on top of KT as, he's not very tanky, is Perfect, unfortunately. Does throw down the Dominus here as there's the Crowstorm. Dives on top of Beryl. He's going to flash out. Deft makes his way out as well, still has his flash up and available, but Harmalife Esports still have more than 50% on everyone as they take down their second inhibitor of the game. And it is back-to-back stomps today. What is this? We wanted to have some lore time, some discussion time, but instead, It is just brutality here. First from Gen G, now from Humble Life Esports. As Doran's throwing rocks around, they're looking to take their first Nexus turret of the game. Hook gonna go wide there. Optimistic from Beryl.
Yeah, Scar and Poke doing so much.
Yes, there's the flash forward. Deft, he's able to make his way out. Utilizes the flash to do so, but now the Nexus is exposed. Arrow will connect onto the Zyra, as now they're looking to try and pad some stats. Ulti comes through from Zeka, but that fountain still does some damage. Can they get some kills? They cannot. Not before the Nexus is eliminated. And Humble Life Esports, man, I think they had a hot date or something, because they made short work of KT in that one.
They had someone to be, something to do, and that was just trouncing KT. That felt like some Noxus lore, really.
Oh yeah, it really did. Maybe we should go into that, or maybe we don't want to go into that. Maybe it's too soon.
Too soon.
I'm gonna stick with Bilgewater for now.
And you know, I feel like Humble Life Esports, especially dropping the game to DRX, people were a little bit like, is the level there? Again, KT's been struggling, but that looked like, I feel like the only other team in the league who's put on a performance like that is Gen G. And it doesn't matter who the opponent is, the only team who's looked that convincing has been Gen G. And yes, it is KT who've been struggling. Humble Life Esports, when they get a lead, sure know how to close a game out. And for KT, the struggle is not ending. And the thing is, you would at least hope there'd be some competitiveness to sort of gleam on and go, well, you know, maybe looking on this, based on this, but I think back to the drawing board is all I can say for KT. That was a rough one.
It really was. I think Humble Life Esports are really getting in stride now as well. We know that they did take a little bit of time, you know, for some R&R over the off-season, and it really feels like the machine has gotten rolling once again. And as we know, the acceleration of a tank is not exactly the largest. You know, it's not like the Dolphin bike. It's more like the Mac bike, if you were going to talk about it.
It's all about the momentum of the tank. You know, once it's going.
Exactly. Inertia. And they are currently moving at a pretty consistent pace. Hi, YS, how you doing? He is producer of the LCK, hanging out.
And I feel like inertia is something that every KT fan is feeling right now.
At least I think it was. I'm like starting to doubt myself. I'm like, it looked so much like YS if it was. Man, it was. A confirmation from G-Sun. I should have just trusted myself, because I was just wondering why he's not in the control room. That's all right. This is where it all started to go wrong, although it wasn't as wrong as it could have otherwise been. This is where it truly went wrong for KT this year.
And I feel like the Fiddlesticks value, pretty massive. Peanut getting a lot of big ults coming out, doing a lot of work. And obviously we've seen such a mix of AP junglers. The Fitted Ashes being a big reason, but also just XP buffs in the jungle. I feel like so many of our junglers were just sort of left in this horrible spot last season, playing Sejuani, Rel, Maokai all the time, and Peanut with the Mapingu.
Top of the morning to you.
He had some fun in this one.
He did. He definitely did. He always does. I think if there's anyone that can be relied on to have fun consistently, it is Peanut. Even when you don't necessarily want him to. When you want him to maybe be a little bit more serious, he will not be as... this just in, it is another fastest game of the season. We thought Gen G versus Bro was fastest game of the season, and it was. But now there's a new one. And it's Humble Life Esports versus KT.
It has really been a record-breaking day.
It has been. It has been lickety-split. It has been extraordinarily fast. Is this the fastest day in LCK history? We've had so many shortest games.
It has been just a mega speedrun.
It has. We'll get some confirmation, I'm sure.
Well, at least KT fans know that they can be part of a record-breaking day.
Indeed.
You know, that's something to be happy about.
There we go.
One specific thing you can be happy about.
Still very, very serious here on Humble Life Esports. It is all business. Commanding, hit the turret, And then looking for Zyra, Peanut finds the angle. Gets hooked and doesn't look too worried about it, as you can see there on your screen.
You know, and I think a win like this is such a big confidence boost, because even though, you know, we've said countless times KT have been struggling, there's big names on that roster. And for Humble Life Esports to win so convincingly, really just cementing them as one of the top contenders.
Absolutely. I think this is absolutely huge for Humble Life Esports. Coming out of the gate with a loss against D+ Gira, I think probably was a little bit of a wake-up call, even though it was first game of the season, things like that. I think that the manner at which they lost as well made us feel a little bit worried about the state of Humble Life Esports. But since then, It has been victories stacking up one after the other, and this is now 3 in a row for the squad. So feeling a whole lot better there on the western side of the standings. KT, on the other hand, not a lot of good news. Not a lot of fun things to
And
say.
they're back to the bottom. They're actually lower game score
Yeah.
row now, so they're right in 10th.
And now in 10th place.
Solo 10th.
Oh dear. It's now time to throw it over to the space to see what they made of an extraordinarily short 2-0.
Thank you very much, guys. This is Dear for the POG interview translation, joined by Peanut and Zeka on the side of Hana Life Esports, who just secured their 3rd consecutive victory by defeating KT Rolster. Congratulations!
네, 케이트라는 폭탄이
How do you feel? You guys defeated KT Rolster.
잘해야겠다 생각하고 왔는데 오늘
You know, we knew that KT might have the bomb called KT might explode anytime, and I'm just glad that they didn't explode this time, and I'm glad that we got the victory today. And Zeka, yeah, this is my first summer POG, and we honestly prepared really hard for this match to be sure that we don't get caught off guard against KT, and I'm glad that it paid off. And today you guys had a clean 2-0 against KT, and both games ended at around 20 minutes. Are you happy with your gameplay? Like today, the comp that we had prepared for mid and jungle actually went really well, and we were able to execute it as well. And Peanut, Sejuani had not won against Zyra yet until you took a victory with Sejuani today. What strategy do you think worked really well today? So in the previous match, Canyon showed us how well he played with Zyra, and actually ended up going a lot better than I thought, and I feel like I had a really comfortable game thanks to my teammates as well. And so even against Zyra's fast jungle clear, your Sejuani didn't lag behind, and the analyst thus found out that you got leashed by Skarner, so who decided to set up this leash? And even so, when I played Zyra, I knew how fast the jungle clear would be. So just to set my pace and match it with the opponent, I decided that, you know, how the best way to deal with the Zyra jungle clear would be getting leashed. So although you did get a leash, is it actually normal to clear this fast as Sejuani? Or is it just that, Peanut, you're just that good? You know, if you have a Skarner on your team, anything is possible. And in game, so that's how Sejuani received POG in the end. And in game 2, the opponent target banned jungle, and even Morgana jungle was banned, and you went with Fiddlesticks. So what do you think of the current meta right now? Yeah, there are so many good AP jungles right now, and with so many bans, I decided that Fiddlesticks would be the best option left. So that's what we went with. And in game 2, against the enemy Corki, your super soldier Yone made an appearance. Zeka, you picked him despite the rough early game against Corki. So what was the meaning behind your pick? No, Yone was actually really good against these AD carry AD mid laners, and I believe that it's just something that I can pull off really easily with my Yone. So how did it feel to play Yone with a jungle Fiddlesticks? No, I honestly don't think I would have struggled without Fiddlesticks, but our jungle Fiddlesticks did a really good job, so I had a really good time playing. Just like you said, the meaning behind your pick was definitely proven. Let's take a look at these replays where you got some awesome kills with some sharp moments. How did you find these angles? Now, I wanted to TP and then push mid, but I had so many good items at that point, and I decided, you know, yeah, maybe this is an opportunity to try to pick off the enemy, and it worked really well. And especially for game 2, it was a quick 24-minute game, and you guys beat Genji's fastest game record by 3 seconds. So how did you guys manage to do this? It feels great to get the fastest game record, and I feel like our comp was basically get Baron, snowball the game, and dive and end the game really fast. So it's just we executed it pretty well. And next up, you'll be up against Genji. How will you prepare for the next
도라에몽
match?
주머니처럼 너무 많은 픽들이 나와서 까다롭긴 하지만
Genji.
준비할 시간 충분히 있다고 생각해서
They
잘
have so
준비해서
many
이겨보도록
picks
노력 많이
up their
하겠습니다.
sleeve, and it's going to be really tough, but we'll make sure that we are ready for the next match, and we'll do our best to win. And Zeka. Yeah, Genji is the strongest team currently. They have so many picks that they have prepared for, and so we'll make sure that we prepare some of the picks that we can use against that and counter them. And that's the end of the interview from Peanut and Zeka of Hana Life Esports, and back to the space. Thank you.